Is the 2026 class deeper than we thought? After a week of practice and the game itself, the Senior Bowl and also the East Shrine game is done with. The narrative on the rookie class is starting to change a bit. We saw a lot of movement in mobile. QB stabilizing their value and mid-round receivers looking like alphas. Tonight, we're cutting through the noise. We're narrowed down 6 players we're keeping an eye on. These aren't just MVPs. These are players who are moving up the boards. Let's get into the list.
Yeah, I don't follow no script. I make my own lane, got a spreadsheet mind and a red brass brain. Dynasty beats got that tape in my veins while they drafting by names. I'm exposing their game, no cap. We study the craft like film room rats. Gyms in the fourth while they stuck in the past. It's levels to the dynasty, keep or flex. From rookies to pros, we demand and respect. That's real. And I ain't never need clout for my clout to show. Just a mic a take and a team I grow. This ain't just picks, it's principle G. It's fourth in fantasy where you build your legacy.
Yo, how we feeling? Hope you're having an amazing night, however you are viewing us. We're Fourth in Fantasy, and I am Honcho. This is my guy,
Sirocco, call me Rocco.
And we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins. We're in the offseason, baby. This is where it really matters. Rocco, how we feeling tonight, my boy?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Everybody's welcome.
Everybody is welcome. And if y'all just getting a rundown, Rocco himself was in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. Mobile with a couple of our friends out there. How did you enjoy yourself, Rocco? One of the notes that I saw was they actually have some pretty good food out there as a side note. But what did you think?
I mean, I'm from NOLA, so it was all right. It was all right, but I mean, it was just like
Louisiana.
They had a couple good. I mean, it was all right, but I don't know. I'm used to good places, so it was better than I had anticipated, but it was still kind of like chain joint type operations, something that you can get almost any city. There was a good breakfast place we went to, but I'm not gonna remember the food that I had while I was there.
But no, shout out to your time out there, and shout out for Rocco was out there pushing the name, meeting out there and networking, man. I feel like that's one besides meeting the prospects and kind of just getting a deeper eye at the prospects. You get to meet amazing people in the fantasy football community and just football community in general. How was it just talking to everybody out there?
Oh, that was cool. First off, I got to meet our good friend Addy, Dynasty Dog Mike out there. Man, really, really cool people, down to earth, really know stuff, really know football. I mean, Mike was like the mayor down there. You would not believe from his headshot that guy is 6'2", 250.
Yeah, Mike might be a linebacker. Mike, he can go lace up the pad himself.
That's a big boy out there. But it was great to meet them in person. And Mike's like the mayor because this was his third year, so he knows everybody out there. But it was super cool, just sitting, just talking football. They had people from ESPN. I met people from 24/7 Sports, football guys, just guys from every single outlet that covers football. 32 beat writers, some player profiler people, and it was kind of cool because some of these people that work in the football industry, they're already talking about what a drag it is because they're going from Mobile to cover the Senior Bowl straight to the Super Bowl. So they're it's a super long 10 days for them.
Yeah.
With them covering football because they just jumping from one event to the next event. I said it's cool, man. I can live that life. We just keep building, but it was really cool to network. I got some exciting guests lined up, in the near future. As we move along into the off season, we got a bunch of exciting things lined up for the viewers coming along up the pipeline pretty soon. Actually, we got a brand new show with
Oh
our
yeah,
good friends over at League Champ, Addy and Chev. We're not going to talk too much about it. We don't want anybody to jack our idea, but it's
it's in the
coming.
works.
It's
It's in
in
the
the
works.
works. In the works. I don't know the technology. I just show up and sing, but we getting it. We getting it very slow, very, very, very soon. That look for that to come out in the next few weeks.
Oh yeah. So once again, the off season, draft season, still very much alive, and we haven't even really got into the portion of the off season that where you really just start killing off or sending off trades. I feel like
Matt,
there's been some people that have tried to make trades, and I made a few. I ain't gonna lie, but I think right now you're better off either one holding your picks just to see just how players move up. But we've done a couple rookie mock drafts in this last, I say, week,
mhm.
2 weeks, and what I am very much learning is that if all the top prospects for the 2026 and for your dynasty leagues, majority of them are getting wiped out by pick 6. So your lemons, I don't know why I thought this way, Rocco, but in my head, I thought I might potentially be able to get me some Carnell Tate at the 106, at the
You
107.
out your goddamn ever loving mind. He going at
He,
3.
he's not making it nowhere near there.
You might get him at 4 if somebody likes Tyson, but I mean, there's a very clear tier. I mean, if you want to mix Mendoza, maybe Tyson or Tate gets the 5, but
Mm,
ain't none of those guys getting the 6 no matter what.
it's a teardrop,
Man,
and
I got a funny little story. I didn't mean to stop your flow, but
dog.
man, I gotta tell it about my boy Addy. Like, one of the nicest guys you'll meet, like, in this industry.
Mm.
But boy, if my man don't have some asshole moments, and I got three of them in just this one trip. Well, I told you that Mike was a giant. Like, I did not foresee Mike being, I guess it's an average height. People don't really think somebody's gonna be tall unless we know they're tall. Um, but, but Addy walks into the stadium, and I'm like, man, Mike's a big dude. He's like, what? And then he walks up to Mike, shakes his hand. He said, damn, Mike, I always thought you had small guy energy, but you're a big dude. All right, that's one. That's one.
Yeah.
Second one is we was hanging out with this guy. He covers the Packers actually. He's like a beat writer or internet beat writer for the Packers, and he
Hmm.
covers prospects for 24/7 Sports. If you do any kind of Devi research, you're gonna run into 24/7 Sports. It's high school to college. Um, Super nice guy. He was like kind of hanging out in a group talking football, and Addy asked him where he's from. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm from Chicago." And Addy's also lives in Chicago, from Chicago. He's like, "Yeah, I'm from. I live in Chicago with the Green Bay beat writer guy," said Eli.
Hmm.
Just drop it. Um, and Addy's like, "Oh yeah, oh nice, cool. Where from?" And the guy goes, "Evanston." And like the soul dropped out of Addy. His body language became
Oh
like
no.
I can't even fucking talk to this guy. He should just go jump off a bridge. He should just do harm to himself, because this dude said he was from Chicago and is actually from Evanston. Uh, but his like soul left his body when he told him that.
Hey, people down here do the same thing. They be like, "Oh, I'm from Miami, Florida." No, you're not, bro. You're literally from Hialeah. Don't why are you lying? He's like,
I,
oh, like,
like if you're gonna feel like that, just let it go. Like it's not that big of a deal. He's a cool people.
yeah.
He's still friends. And the third one is Mike secured an interview with Caleb Douglas on the field because after practice they let us go down to the field, and whoever we can pull to the side, we can have an interview. It's like open for like 10 minutes. And Mike actually got Caleb Douglas, who was pretty impressive all week. Really impressive kid. So he got a really good interview, and he got Addy to photograph it. So he had a nice like 2-3 minute interview. Asked really good questions. Was awesome interview. We get back to the seats. Mike looks at it. And the sun is completely blocking Caleb Douglas's head. Like all you see is sun where Caleb Douglas's head should be, because Addy took the video directly into the sun. So Mike couldn't even post it or nothing. He couldn't do nothing with the video.
That's a killer one. And as a former photographer myself, or a guy who knows his way around the camera, going back and looking at the content that you just recorded just to see your shit got blown out by the sun is one of the worst feelings for sure. That's why you need an ND filter on these cameras, man. When y'all out there and recording, an ND filter will basically bring down the sun in the background, so it's just not overblowing out your picture. But hey, damn, sorry, Mike.
And I'm gonna tell you the worst part about it was Addy afterwards was like, "Yeah, I saw the sun, but I didn't want to interrupt y'all."
That's hilarious. Shout out to
oh man, Addy's one of my good friends in this industry. He has some moments.
That's hilarious. Shout out to Addy. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to everybody that was out there. I know everybody had fun this year, and the clips that I saw from everybody was absolutely great. But we're here for the 6 players that we're keeping an eye on. And you know what? A few of the guys that I'm going to mention, I liked coming into the season. It's just that either one, their usage wasn't where we wanted it to be in 2025, or injuries and schematics got in the way. But nevertheless, I'm going to kick off my list with somebody who very much made themselves some money, some Manyan, some Fetty. Who am I talking about? Cyrus Allen, wide receiver out of Cincinnati Bearcats. He is a senior wide receiver who started at Louisiana Tech, had a limited role at Texas A&M in 2024, so he had a little bit of SEC competition, and then with the depth chart, then he exploded his final year at Cincinnati, and then he also had some pretty good performances, flashes at the 2026 Senior Bowl dominance. He showed pure route running capabilities and separation, which I believe elevated his stock. Where I could see him as is a potential slot Z receiver, where if he goes to like an NFL West Coast or a timing offense, I believe he can be pretty deadly. He is 5'11", 180. I think he'll run around that 4.55 mark. I think he's quicker than fast. In 2025, he had 51 catches, 674 receiving yards, and 13 touchdowns. Just for y'all can keep a note for that. He had the 3rd most Power 4 touchdowns in 2025, and his yak, he averaged about 5 yards contested. For a person who's 5'11", contested catches was 94% successful, very low drops, and his receiving grade 75.3 in 2025. What I like most about Cyrus, like I said, elite route runner, his precise breaks, tempo of his routes, knows how to attack leverage and voids. I think he's very explosive. He not deep speed wise, but he gets in and out of his cuts and bursts out for separation. Reliable hands, ball skills in those contested catch situations. He plays a lot bigger than his 5'11" frame. High IQ. He knows how to read defenses and create at will versus man. And like I said, he was he one of my Senior Bowl risers, dominated drills. DBs were having, and mind you, that's the purpose of those type of drills at mobile at the Senior Bowl. They're meant for you to win against the DBs because you're going one on one, and that's not real NFL ball, if you will say that, because usually you'll have a corner and you'll have a safety or something over that. So I like me some Cyrus Allen. When I'm looking at his weaknesses, though, like I said, he is a little bit undersized, 5'11", 180. So that limits his. I think you can, if you get really, once you get into his pads, that can be a little bit of trouble for him. He does lack top end speed, so I don't consider him as a true deep threat. And then he had a little bit of minor injury history, nothing too crazy. But when I'm looking at his dynasty rookie draft or where he could go, honestly, I think he's a mid to late third round, around picks 33, 40 overall in a 12-team super flex. But I think he's very much a sleeper in my end. And the mock drafts that we've been able to do so far, I think the round that has the most value is that third round is looking like this year, where guys that Drew Aller has been going in the third, fourth area, and that was somebody who people thought they would have to spend a first round pick on in rookie drafts. But how do you feel about Cyrus Allen in the rookie drafts? Is he somebody that you fairly like? Is someone you will select, or do you like other guys in that type of area in the third round, mid to early third?
I'll take some shots on him because what he showed at in Mobile was that he can create separation. So those guys always intrigue me.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's necessarily small. I mean, 5'11" is that's about the size you want your wide receiver to be in today's NFL. The guy I like is 6'4", so that gives me a little pause.
Mm.
When I talk about him later, that's a little bit scary, but the average height guys that can create constant separation, those guys have a place in the league. So I'm gonna get some Cyrus Allen. One thing that kind of makes me a little bit nervous is that he was basically in his senior year, he was a slot only player.
Yeah.
And with teams moving to heavy personnel, 12, which is 2 tight ends, 13, which is 3 tight ends, to kind of counteract some things that the defenses are doing. Will he be able to get on the field? If he's a slot only player. So, I think he'll have to find his way to the Z some. So he'll have to basically probably learn a new position if he wants to kind of get on the field consistently. But that I feel like that the skill of getting open kind of translates. So just hopefully he lands right. Hopefully he doesn't get forgotten by the NFL. That's going to be a big thing for him. We got to see where he gets drafted and see if NFL teams believe in him. But if he gets on a decent landing spot, I'll definitely have some shares of him.
Yeah, I think if he's a poor man's Jordan Addison, right? And I think where Jordan Addison broke out earlier, he wasn't a senior year, so that's the main difference between them. But with you see guys with his size still be able to produce. He'll never be an X in any type of NFL offense, but I think he's someone that can sometimes go out to that Z flanker position, but he'll majority will live in that slot role.
Yeah, I mean, JSN is about 6 foot. Just Jamar Chase is about 6 foot.
Yep.
Malik Neighbors about 6 foot. So that's the go zone for a lot of these high octane target earners. So I don't have any problem with his size. I just worry that if he's that he gets pigeonholed into the slot, I don't know how many snaps there's going to be, depending on what team he lands and what kind of offense they run. So you'd like to see him get on the field as early as possible to maximize his value. But if if he lands somewhere where they're just running too wide, most of the plays, then it's going to take him a while to get onto the field. That's what makes me nervous. But I mean, if he goes third round or better, then I'm all in.
Yeah, he has the. I think he has the route running chops to be that. And then just speaking on his NFL projection, then we can move on to your first prospect that you're keeping an eye on. I think he does go into that mid to late day 3, around that rounds 4 to 5 ish area.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We got to see what NFL team falls in love with him, but he does have the pieces there to help an NFL team, I believe.
Yeah. Puka Nakua is a 5th-round pick, so we can't necessarily shit on him if he goes late. I think it's more about the landing spot, and the draft capital does help a profile, but it's not going to be completely over for him if he doesn't go in the top 3 rounds.
Agreed. Who is your first player that you're keeping an eye on?
Man, at first I was going to go with Sam Roush because he was somewhat impressive at the Senior Bowl, and he has, let me see if I could pull it up. Sam Roush has the best profile picture you've ever seen. Let's see. Why can't I blow this up? Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Hold up. I'm gonna show y'all my technology here. Look at that. He's got the broken glasses on. He's Clark Kent. Then he gets out onto the field and turns into Superman.
Oh no! That is a photo to have.
But then I looked at his actual numbers, and they were not NFL material. His PFF, and it's a grain of salt, but his PFF grades were terrible. He had 3 missed forced tackles all year for a big tight end. His numbers weren't great. His catch percentage was around 50%. So, I mean, unless he tests awesome, I'm probably going to be out on him, even though he was one of the more impressive guys. But I pivoted to the guy who actually was the tight end MVP of the week. When he wasn't catching the ball, he was getting held. He had a couple holds, pass interference in one of the early practices. In the end zone drills, he looked really good. He high pointed the ball towards the corner of the end zone, got his feet in. I'm talking about Justin Jolly, but some of the things I watched some film on him, some of the things I like on him. He's good at high pointing. He's a willing blocker. And maybe our guy Deku, Dustin Mall, I might have heard this somewhere, but I actually saw the tape. He has like a 50-something yard touchdown, which was actually it was a wide receiver screen, and then the wide receiver threw it to him for a touchdown. About halfway through, he pulled his hammy. And if you ever seen the Greg Jennings meme, where he's holding his hat, he's holding his hammy and just limping down the field. I'm gonna have to splice this into a short, just so y'all guys can see what I mean. But he basically limped like the last 20-25 yards into the end zone, and it was such a fun play. Probably the highlight of that I saw out of the film I watched. But he has a great PFF grade. Take that for what it's worth. 7 TDs last year, 8 out of 14 in contested situations, 44 missed forced tackles in his career. So he's got some numbers to work with. He's got some skills. He's got good size. Modern tight end size, I should say. I think he's 6'3", 250. So he's big enough. I'm gonna be interested in getting my hands on some Justin Jolly, especially if he slides. He can add to what is already a tight end renaissance with some of his skills. And I think he's gonna be priced right. I think he's gonna be a 3rd round pick in rookie drafts, unless he just tests incredibly at the combine. So he's a guy I'm super interested in.
You know, Rocco, in the latest one that I believe, either completed, I believe we completed this one, where people just forgot that he was available in the third, and they were like, "Damn, I forgot to Justin Jolly was out there. Should have selected him." I think that's and that's why I say the third round is going to be very value packed. It's not going to be guys who I feel like are your diamonds or blue chip guys, right? Where but these are guys that I feel like can be serviceable. These are guys that if they get into the right situations, they could end up having higher value than what we thought of coming into, or what we thought about this class. Are there heavy hitters? No. Or are there plenty of heavy hitters in this class? No. But I think depth wise, it's better than what it was given, if I'm being quite honest. So I do like Justin Jolly out of NC State. I think where one, if you don't want to break the bank, if you will, for some of these higher tight ends that will go before him, I think he's a good selection of what you can do. Shout out to Justin Jolly. I think, like I said, if he goes to the right situation, he could very much be somebody who, hell, nobody really thought Oronde Gatson was going to do something or was going to be somebody for the Chargers until he got the opportunity. So I think those are the guys that could step up and show you something. Oh no. No, not the, no. Hold on. I just got. We're doing a mock right now. We're part of a mock right now. That's going. I just got Mahomes. I don't want no fucking Mahomes right now. I gotta go back. Sorry,
who you got? Who you want? You want Herbert? You want Dart? You want Lawrence? You want Lemon? You want Genty? You want Collins?
Yeah. I gotta tell the commissioner.
Taylor?
Telling the commissioner to restart this shit because I don't want Patrick Mahomes in the
you got Pickens. Pickens still there.
I got Jamar. See, I picked Jamar Chase as my first, and so now I gotta see.
You got a Ted Rower.
So it's a start 3 wide receiver. I probably would go with another wide receiver here, depending on it, but we'll see. I probably could go George Pickens and pair him with Jamar Chase. I like that pair, but I do like me some Justin Jolly, and I think he's going to be one of the guys where actually in that draft, Rocco has selected Justin Jolly right after I selected Max Clare, who I like better, and somebody who I thought you was going to need to select in that in the first round, early second. Max Clare can be selected in the third, and people are too far down on him. He wasn't someone I selected here, but I think Max Clare is going to be way better in the NFL, and him underproducing at Ohio State in 2025 rubbed a few people the wrong way, and I'm okay with that because Max Clare might end up being my most selected prospect when I go back and look at it. My most selected prospect, if he's there in the third round, like I saw him, because I think he's going to be a better pro than he was in college, and particularly this past year. But I like me some Justin Jolly. Rocco, good shit right there.
Our guy Mike, Dynasty Dog Mike, who's a Giant, took Justin Jolly right before you took Claire.
There we
go.
I
took Trig.
Yeah, thank you. You took Trig. Yeah. And which is
I know
fantasy
points.
You've been very much on the Trig hive even before we started doing the mock drafts.
I got him in my C2C, so I'm all the way in.
All right. I will actually, before we continue this show, we're going to cut to League Champ real quick, where you could win a free NFL jersey. And just because the Super Bowl is basically this weekend, doesn't mean the contests are stopping. We got draft contests coming in. We got the Super Bowl contest, one last for the NFL 2025 NFL season to play. Come get yourself a free NFL jersey. I've won 2. Rocco won a handful. A couple of our good friends have won a handful. Come get you one. This is League Champ, where you can get yourself a free NFL jersey, and we'll be right back after this break.
Let's go.
And we are back at it, Fourth and Fantasy. Once again, if you didn't know, I'm Hancho, and this is my guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco.
And we are breaking down our 6 players that have caught or rising up our boards and that you should keep an eye on post Senior Bowl and East Shrine Bowl. And let's continue this train going with a prospect that I liked even before the season kicked off. It hurt me to see that where he transferred to, which was Georgia Tech, because one, I don't know what any wide receiver that has hopes of going to the NFL, why they would go to Georgia Tech. It's not a good school that showcases the full capabilities of what a wide receiver can do. But Eric Rivers, wide receiver, Georgia Tech, senior, who broke out at FIU from 2003 to 2024 before transferring to Georgia Tech in 2025. In 2024, he was first team All CUSA, AP All-American third team, and he had the school record for a single game yards, 295. He had elite efficiency, and then we saw in 2025 a reduced output, mainly due to the schematics that we saw from Georgia Tech. Once again, they run almost damn near the triple option there. Is not wide receiver friendly, man. I hate watching that. As a Georgia Bulldog, I love whooping on their little ass because they have a little brother, big brother kind of complex. They think they're doing noise against Georgia. Georgia Tech ain't shit. I just want people to know that. But at the Shrine game, he showed athleticism, kept him pretty relevant when he was on the outside and in the slot. So I very much believe he is a vertical threat. Once again, he's another guy who's 5'11", 180. I think he might end up being 5'10". He's projected to run, I say, 4.4. I think I see that kind of film from him. I wouldn't be surprised as a low 4.4 guy. I think his top 40 might be in the high 4.3, so like a 4.38 or 4.39, so a sub 4.4 or so. But I very much like what I saw from Eric in 2024. 2025 left more to be commanded just because of Georgia Tech being buttermilk buns. But 12 games, FIU, 62 catches, 1,172 yards. That is 18.9 yards per reception. 12 touchdowns, 97.7 yards a game. Massive breakout. Georgia Tech, only 46 catches, 658 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely hate that shit. Where 2024, dramatically better, nearly double the yards, TDs, efficiency, big playability, every damn near stat you can think about, he did better at FIU than Georgia Tech. And then when we're looking at more of the analytics, he only had a 71.5 receiving grade, was much higher in 2024. His yards per route run was 96 percentile carryover. So 3.41. His athletic score is between of the 97.7, 99.2 percentile. But the man gets separation and also yak after the play. I very much in my scouting process adore wide receivers that are able to extend the play. That's why I love Omar Cooper Jr. I love the Zachariah Branches of the world because of when the ball is in their hands, it just doesn't stop there. They're trying to make something happen with it. So he had 9 plays where he hit over 20 miles per hour. And I believe he has really strong body control. His strengths, explosive vertical speed. I believe even at his height, he can very much win on the outside as well as the slot. So burst to stretch the field, excellent body control, footwork. I love the tempo of his separation. Once again, reliable hands, contested catch. I think he's dynamic in the slot if you want to have him there. High effort, competitive, big play threat. Now, once again, a little bit undersized when it comes to weight. So once you get into his body, it can get a little bit of scary right there.
Mhm.
He had once again 2025 production drop off, but I'm not going to throw it at his way. Georgia Tech, not fun. He's not a dominant blocker, obviously, with his size. He'll do it. I think he has the drive to want to block, but I'm not going to say he holds his own there. But I think he has a solid ceiling to where I think he could be a serviceable. Once again, if he goes to the right area or right team, I think he could be a nice added piece. He's another guy that's going to be in that late day 3 mark in the NFL draft, just because of, once again, I think that Georgia's Tech year really hurt him. But if you go back and look at the 2024, you're going to find so many things that you love about Eric Rivers' film, whether it's his route running, whether it's his explosiveness, whether it's his body control, whether it's him always just showing up on film. Absolutely. I don't know why he honestly transferred. I think he would have been justified of staying another year at FIU or just not transferring to fucking Georgia Tech. Come on, guys. Prospect. I know. I get it. The transfer portal is not the nicest to people, but whoever the fuck decides to transfer to Georgia Tech as a wide receiver, you might need to be looked at, because you're not really doing yourself any service. When we're looking at Dynasty rookie drafts, I think he's a late 3rd round. I was able to get him actually, I believe, in the 4th round. So he will go around that 3rd, 4th round turn. And I love the value there. I think him is almost for me, a blessing in disguise, because Georgia Tech running that Bushwick ass offense basically is letting me get my guy at a discount, which I'm not even mad at. So Eric Rivers is another guy I'm going to be taking some flyers on, because I think his skill set can very much translate to the NFL. I see some Jalen Waddle to his game. He's not as fast as Jalen Waddle, but the suddenness, the explosiveness when they're going in and out their cuts in their routes, absolutely love that about Eric Rivers, and he's going to be somebody I'm 100% keeping an eye on. I think he's going to kill it when we get to the combine. He's really going to show people what he can do, and that is my second player I'm keeping an eye on.
I haven't seen him play one snap, but I'll just add a little bit context, a couple stats. In 2024, he led all of college football in both yards, tied for first in touchdowns, and for a speed guy, he had 19 missed forced tackles. That speaks to his ability to make things happen after the catch.
Yep.
And also, his quarterback had 136.4 QB rating when targeting him. So, good things happen when he got thrown the ball. 3.64 yards per route run. Is a key stat that we look at. Lower level of competition, but it's better than not playing well. I guess they got better poontang in Georgia. In Georgia, because I don't know what other reason he would to leave and go to a 1924 run offense. So best of luck to him. Let's see if he can blow it up in the combine. But my guy is a little bit controversial. There was a lot of people that don't like his game. I heard various reasons. his ability to get off of press coverage. He got absolutely locked down by some cornerback named Muhammad at a certain point. But the things I saw from Jacoby Lane, the second most famous USC guy from this year, he definitely won't be the number 2 in your rookie drafts, but he could steam up into the late first, early second round. Jacoby Lane, some of the things I saw in Mobile, he's just so smooth. He's so smooth with it. you got he's just so smooth with it. Just a smooth route runner when he can get into his routes. I seen him pluck the ball right off the turf, smoothly, and then still turn upfield. He was shaking guys in routes and getting open for touchdowns. He just kind of glides. He just kind of glides all week. And he was just like basically the most polished guy there, contested catches. So yeah, whenever he can get into his route, I thought he was pretty awesome. The most consistent guy at the catch point. Malachi Fields was impressive too, but he's got to hold on to the ball. He had a lot of drops. I know Brandon Marshall had a bunch of drops back in the day, T.O., but he put the ball on the ground a lot. But some of the things I saw on his tape, he's a willing blocker, both in the run game and he got some crackback blocks. So I like to see that, guys that can get their nose dirty, helps them get on the field. He can get, sometimes in press, he can get a little manhandled. He's definitely got to improve on his play strength. That's a thing that I saw.
Agreed.
But when you get in the NFL, you'll have a chance to get into weight rooms. So that's a thing that I think he can improve on. I saw he had a 60-yard TD against Notre Dame where he faked inside and then got back outside on a go route. That was pretty sweet. Some of his stats: 15.3 yards per route run. He's basically 80-20 on the outside. 11 missed forced tackles in 2025. He had 14 scores in 2024. 2.42 yards per out run is not bad. Like anything, we like to have a guy 2.5 to 3.0, but there's only a handful of guys that are going to do that every year. So 2.42 is still super impressive. Some of the other notes that I got, great concentration. You see it over and over again. Even if he's not consistently getting separation, he's consistently winning, the football in tight coverages. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he's not a great separator. Got to work on his strength. Great at high pointing the ball. With two hands, one hand. A lot of spectacular catches. He seems to have pretty good sideline awareness, even as a young player. That speaks to the smoothness that I was talking about. Some great one-handed catches on his film. I think that if he can work on his weaknesses, I think he can find his way into a pretty valuable role, because I think he's going to be a guy that quarterbacks look for in the red zone because of his high point ability and his ability to be aware of where he's at, get his feet in bounds. So I think early on he can be a red zone weapon. I think he can grow as he gets stronger. But I know there's a lot of people that don't like him, but I came away a fan of his.
When I look at Jacoby, I can't help myself but to see a little bit of Jalen Coker, and when he was coming out, and kind of what Jalen needed to work on when he came into the league, where he needed to bulk up. He needed to add some more play weight because he was slimmer, so he needed to get some off-season peanut butter and grow into his body. Another guy who's a big guy, 6'3", I believe Jalen Coker is. And what I like about Jacoby Lane is that he uses that height to his advantage, right? I think
Oh
that's
yeah, he does.
one of his strengths. Red zone monster. He turns very much of those, I think, 50-50 balls into 60-40, 7-30 type. Good hands. For somebody who is 6'4", I'm quite surprised of how well he does move throughout his routes. He is a decent route runner for a bigger, taller guy.
Mm-hmm.
He has basketball player type body control.
Mm-hmm.
When I think he has a pretty natural feel of finding cover spots in zone coverage, attacks the ball at its apex height, uh, and then when he is honestly, I think he's one of the better finishers. What I do have a little bit of worry about him is his speed. I don't see him as a vertical separator.
Mm-hmm.
He's a deep speed, top end speed. That scares me a little bit. And then his ability to beat press corners. Well, he's another guy that, once again, 6'4", 209. If I'm getting that correct, like I was actually not even 209. I think he's at 196, 200. And some people have compared him to George Pickens. Honestly, I see more Carnell Tate as George Pickens than I see as Jacoby Lane. I think George Pickens was a more fluid athlete than Jacoby. And then I'll give Jacoby a slight edge in the route running category, but George Pickens, talent wise, I think was one of the. If it wasn't for one, he tore his ACL his sophomore year, and being in a run heavy offense, I think George Pickens would have been a top 10 selection if he went to a passing school. And then one of the other kind of, I won't say red flags, but his route tree kind of scares me a little bit. I want to see more diversity. He needs to expand his overall what he's able to run. Separation, even though he is a route runner, he doesn't get the greatest of separation.
Yeah, I didn't see my separation on tape.
Yeah, like they're in his hip pocket. They're right there. So
there's a reason why he has to get a lot of contested catches, because they right in his butt. No Diddy.
So no Diddy. So that makes me a little worried. I do think where you're able to select Jacoby Lane, he has the tools to grow into something, right? If there's somebody who I'm picturing Jacoby could be at high end, I think if he adds more weight to himself, he could be a poor man's T. Higgins for an offense, if you ask me. And I said, if you let him develop, if you're looking for him to be a big dominant wide receiver, Terrell Owens, George Pickens type, I don't think that's him. But I think he can be somebody's Robin. I don't think he's a Batman. He's not the main character. He's not that guy. But I think he could be a great, asset piece.
He's not what you call that, NPC. He's NPC. He's in the rotation. He's not an NPC. He's a player character.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This storybook ain't about him. He's more of the world guy. So I think where he'll be able to fit in. Hell, if let's say, I'm trying to think of some teams that could use him, that he doesn't need to go there and be the guy. Hell, let's say if he goes to the Commanders, right? And they already have Terry McLaurin. Let him work along with Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin's more of the route runner. I think he's also the field stretcher. And let Jacoby Lane do a little bit of pieces in there too. And do I want him to go to the Commanders as a Cowboys fan? Not really, but I think that would be a great place for him, to where he doesn't need to be the guy. You have a good quarterback, you have a pretty decent offense, and there have been talks of them trying to add their wide receiver add their running back piece into there. I think that would be a great place for a Jacoby Lane to not need to feel like he needs to step in and be the guy. All he has to really beat is fucking Luke McCaffrey for the most part. So
Yeah, I think a win for him would be to get on a team, get some decent draft capital, second or third round, day two, and for him to get in and be like a number three for somebody, and have some specific roles. You know, you can look for him when you need to move the sticks. You can look for him in the red zone. You know, especially if you have trouble scoring. If he can get those kind of roles, I think it's wheels up for him because you know, he has some skill set where he can get onto the field. Like I said, he's a willing blocker and he can you know, and he can be a red zone demon. So if they can get him to the right team, put him in those roles, I think he can be successful and just grow in that role.
And I will move on to my third prospect I am keeping an eye on, and I might get killed for this one. And why do I say that? Because one, he transferred and he didn't really do much when he did transfer in 2025. Who am I talking about? The Mr. Sooner himself, Jaden Ott. Calm on down. And once again, I know, y'all. I know.
He was not impressive in Mobile.
Do not kill me. But what I did like about him was his pass block chops. I think that's one of the things that couldn't end up getting a rookie onto the field. And what I liked about Jaden Ott initially, even before all of this, was that, and let me bring my notes back up. So he was somebody in 2023 at Cal who broke onto the scene. He is a senior now, dominated at Cal, declined in 2024 due to injuries and offensive line play scheme issues led to lower yards per carry and volume before completely being limited in 2025 and at Oklahoma. But there's something about his game that leads me to believe that he could end up reclaiming that 2023 status of his, right? So looking back at it, 2024, he only had 116 attempts. He played in 10 games. It was down due to his ankle injury that he had, and then he was only limited, looks like, to a few games in 2025. Only 21 rush attempts, 3.2 yards per carry. Once again, even lower. But in 2023, though, and once again, this is very key. I want y'all to listen up to this one. 2023, 1,305 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns. Beautiful, right? Then, now, his strengths, elite explosiveness. He has one of the better first steps that I like from a running back. He's not fast. He's not somebody who's blazing. He's not someone who I believe is going to house it. But I think he has enough speed to be able to rip off long runs. But that burst, absolutely love. I believe he has strong vision. He's very decisive when making his decisions and getting into the hole, and has very underrated power for a guy who's only about 208, 210, 5'11. I think he'll end up running in those 4.5s, like a 4.45 type of guy. He's a reliable receiver. I think he has soft hands. A couple of routes that we saw him running against linebackers, he was, you know what I'm saying? He was up out of there. You know what I mean? I do like what I saw from in those pass catching reps out of him. He's tough. I think he has balance after contact, open field yak, dominant tape in 2023 that looked like a 3-down upside when healthy. Emphasis when healthy. I know we kind of have to knock guys down when they have injury history. Hell, that's the reason why some people don't have Jordan Tyson as their wide receiver one, due to his injury history. But some people think he is wide receiver one due to the talent, if it wasn't due to the injuries. So with Jaden Ott, he needs to work on. Well, I guess it's not something you can really work on, but he has durability issues, injury history, that led to 2020 from 2024 to 2025 production drop. Finesse over power. He does have negative plays when forcing big runs. He's somebody who I feel like tries to go for the big play a little bit too much rather than taking what's given to him. I would want to see him take the tough yards and iron those out rather than losing, or I want him to see him lessen his negative plays. Well, so and then he did have a little bit of a fumbling issue, and I hate that because as a running back, if you can't hold on to the pigskin, we're gonna have a little bit of issue of keeping you on the field. We saw that with Ramondre Stevenson. Well, the Patriots, even when he was fumbling this year, the Patriots were still giving him the ball. So Vrabel very much likes him, but the year previously, where they had I believe, the year previously when he was fumbling, he got benched, right? So you don't want to see a running back dropping the church's money, if you will. You always want to see them pushing, but he has polarizing traits, very high, but recent tape has concerns. Once again, he's going to be one of those. And if you haven't catched the trend, I'm picking more of those later guys that you can end up having higher value. I think he does go in that late third, early fourth, most likely in the early fourth. And super flexes, he has very much of a boom or bust type of profile when healthy, but I'm not ready to throw him into the trash pile just yet. You know, people will say he wasn't that much oppressive throughout the week, but I liked what I saw him throughout with him in the game. Practice, we're talking practice. You feel me?
That's what everybody goes for, the practice. Everybody gone by the time they play the game.
You feel me? Yeah,
yeah.
I like to critique. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I didn't. No, he didn't. I didn't really notice him do much all week. He did have a couple impressive pass blocking reps, but besides that, I really didn't notice him basically the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple stats for you. It's a tale of two halves of his career, because in his first 2 years, he had 890 as a freshman and 1,300 yards as a sophomore that you alluded to.
Yeah.
He had almost 100 missed tackles forced in those first 2 years. Only 16 in his final 2 years. Elusive rating 90, 75.9 in his first 2 years, down to 19.4, 39.3 as a senior. If he's the guy in his first 2 years, you may have a gem. If he's the guy in the last 2 years, then he may wash out of the league pretty quickly. And the thing about running back in the league right now is very competitive. We just had basically an all-time class come in last year, so a lot of free agents this year. So there's a ton of good running backs in the league. A lot of teams have two good running backs. So if he's not that guy he was as a freshman and sophomore, then he might wash out of the league. But definitely a guy to keep an eye on in the later rounds and in free agency if you run a 3-round draft.
Yeah, and just to point out a few of his games from 2023, his sophomore year, he had 165 yards against Arizona State. He had 153 yards against USC on 21 carries. He had 160 yards against Washington State, 166 yards against Stanford. This is somebody who, like Rocco pointed out, the man had his first almost 100 missed tackles forced in his first 2 seasons. He had a 90 rush grade his freshman year, and almost if you round it up, he had a 90 rush grade again in his sophomore year. I very much believe that his injuries held him back. The off and particularly in 2024, the injuries, the offensive line play, and then in 2025, more of injuries, and then kind of just got lost along the way. I think we saw the same thing with Mekhi Hughes when he transferred over to Oregon from Tulane. We all was very interested in his profile and thought he was going to be, a very used very properly at Oregon. That didn't turn out his way. It just kind of happens in this transfer portal day of age. You think guys transfer to these bigger schools that have more production, like we saw with Ahmad Hardy transferring from a lower school to a bigger school and having a big year. Was hoping for the same thing from Jaden Ott. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But I think if healthy and he gets back to his old self, man, is that a running back that I would want to have on my squad for almost a free ski, if you really think about it. But I like me some Jaden Ott. And that is my third player that I am keeping an eye on. And to end it off, Rocco, let us know who is your third prospect that you're keeping an eye on, my boy.
Man, this guy, I've been propping him up all week since the Senior Bowl. I've appeared on several podcasts, and I said he was the most impressive running back there. Guy's 6'1", 228. But the impressive thing that I saw in the Senior Bowl was he demonstrated that he could catch the ball. He looked real good in pass catching reps. When they were running offense, the ball consistently seemed to find his hands. Mostly because the quarterbacks were too scared to throw. I wouldn't say scared, but they were playing it safe, I would say, and they were throwing it to the tight ends and the running backs. But he looked super. His hands looked good. He looked like he had soft hands. It looked like he could catch the ball, no problem. Catch it on the run. All that good stuff. But let me tell you, I went back to the tape. I'm having second thoughts about this guy. I was pumping him into the late first. I think I need to pump the brakes a little bit. So I went back to the tape, the all 22, and the game, and it was a game against Texas A&M. Also, I watched the game versus Texas, but let me tell you some of the notes that I had watching him against Texas A&M. And mind you, this was probably his best game of the year. I didn't know it watching the tape. I went back and he averaged like 9 yards a carry over 150 yards. But the notes that I have for Mike Washington, hesitant in the backfield, pass blocking is a problem. He had guys running around him. He had times where he couldn't hold his block. There were times where he didn't even know who the fuck. He couldn't even find anybody to block. He's like, who the fuck am I supposed to be blocking? Like, it's a problem, and it's going to keep him off the field because he's going to get his quarterback killed. Lucky for Arkansas, they had Taylor Green, who had a run for his life back there because Mike Washington wasn't doing him any favors. Thing I don't like about him, doesn't seem like he plays to his 228 pounds. He can scoot when he has room, especially like when he can get into space. He's a big guy, so not very nimble. I can give him some grace on that. Feet, not the greatest feet. Long speed is questionable. He got in the open field a few times, but it seemed like every time he got in the open field, somebody was catching him from behind. And that's some of the notes I had from Texas A&M. Versus Texas, he was a little bit better. He showed some yak. I saw a spin move, in traffic through the middle of the line. He also trucked a guy. He dropped his shoulder into a guy for a touchdown. I think it was a catch, actually. But like I said, in the open field, he can do some things. Soft hands. Saw him scoop the ball, close right off the ground. I like that. It kept running. But the thing that gives me pause is I don't believe he's a great inside runner at all. Um, also, I'm gonna give him the good with the bad. I do believe that he can be utilized as a pass catcher. I saw routes out of the backfield. I saw option routes.
Yo,
I saw a wheel route. He can do the check down routes where he goes to a open spot in zone, turns around, catches the ball, and falls down. But the things I don't like I say, he's not great at misforced tackles, not super elusive, didn't show me a lot after contact. So let me give you some numbers I got. He had 1,066 yards, 8 touchdowns, 34th in misforced tackles. 34 yards was his longest run, and I think that speaks. Like I was telling him, I question his long speed. He's got some burst, but I question his long speed. I don't think he's going to test as well as people think he is. 35th in elusive rating, but he also had 28 catches. So I am not buying that he can be a 3-down back. I think he's got a lot of things to work on. And the thing that left me wanting was this guy is 228 pounds, and I didn't see him play up to that size enough. Definitely not in the middle of the field. When he get ahead of steam like a Derrick Henry and get moving north and south, he can truck people. But when there's junk at the line and he has to use his vision to navigate it, I wasn't very impressed with that. So he's going to be dropping for me. I am no longer going to steam him up into the first round. For me, he is more of a late second. I think he can have a role that can be fantasy friendly if he gets on the right team and they utilize him as a pass catcher, and grow some of those areas of weakness. But right now, he is nowhere close to a finished product, and he is definitely not the league winner upside that I thought he might have, seeing what I saw in Mobile.
yes, with Mike Washington, he's already an older prospect, having spent 5 seasons in college. And then you touched on it, his long speed. He has a good initial burst, but long speed wise, I think he does get caught or lacks top end speed to consistently break away. He had a little, and I believe what you're talking about, he doesn't play to his size. His pad level is not good. I think he runs up. I think he runs pretty upright, and that limits his power or his drive, his leg drive to be able to push the pile and actually put his weight behind his pads. For a guy who is 220 plus pounds, you would think, or you would hope to see some more power runs of him just.
He's more upright.
Yeah, so he's not. He was listed at 6'2". He's actually 6 foot, which I think is better. I get a little bit of worried when I see guys, running backs who are in that height range of. I'm cool with 6 foot. I'm cool with. I think 6'1" is probably the highest that I would want for a running back. Now, obviously, there are anomalies. Mr. Derrick Henry himself, but he's literally a fucking tank, and we don't have to. We never had said out of our mouths, you know what? We don't think Derrick Henry runs behind. He doesn't run like he's 200 and some, or runs like the way he is. We have never said that. Like, Derrick Henry runs like a big motherfucker. Mike Washington does not run like a big motherfucker, and he's a big muscle guy. You feel me? So
yeah, his tape was not what I expected it to be. Let me just put that right out in the open. Like what I saw in Mobile and the measurables, I expected.
Oh no, we don't lost the. I don't know why Restream does that, and we're back.
Hi.
I don't know why Restream does that, but go ahead, continue your thought, Rocco.
No, I said what I expected based on seeing him in person, seeing like he's a huge human being. He's every bit of those 228 pounds. Showed out as a good athlete. I just expected more when I turned on the tape. I mean, I thought I guess I was being a little, um, I was going with the measurables, and I
Yeah.
expected to see those measurables on tape, but he does not play. He does not play to his size, and
I
that
mean,
is concerning for me.
he was one of them. He was one of the few folks that hit 20 miles per hour out there, though. So I think that's what kind of got everyone looking like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, look at this
I,
guy, right?
I didn't see that 21 miles an hour when people was running him down consistently every time he got into the open field.
Yeah. No, with Mike Washington and hey, Rocco, would you agree? After now, some people have him as their RB2.
Oh, in the mock draft we just did, I took him at 10. If I take that next rookie mock draft, I am not taking him at 10. I can promise you that.
So once again, what's the sweet spot for you with Mike Washington where you feel like, all right, I can turn in his card and I feel good selecting him at this spot?
For me, after actually watching his film, I think that I'm gonna be in the late second, early third form, and I'll just be, if somebody really likes him, I'll probably be trading out of that pick.
Now I'm gonna ask you. Now that I'm gonna ask you on a few guys out there, would you rather have Mike Washington or Katron Allen out of Penn State?
I think I'm gonna take Katron Allen. I think he has better vision, and he probably gets better draft capital.
Mike Washington or Nicholas Singleton after the injury?
Mm.
Because now Singleton would have been a first rounder. I think now you're getting more value with him in the second. So would
I
somebody?
probably still take Singleton just because of his high school pedigree and his supposed elite athleticism, which we won't get to see because he's not going to test because he has a broken ankle now.
Yeah. I think when we're looking at these running backs, he's intriguing, and that's one when you get these bigger guys who and there was a couple of reps he had out at the Senior Bowl where he was running a route and he looked fluid. He looked good.
Super fluid for his size. Like that's what's confounding to me. If like he was just a better running back, if he was better at running the football,
Mm.
like this dude would be like a Pro Bowler with
Like I like,
with everything else he's bringing to the table.
yeah, like he,
But that's the hardest thing. You can't teach a guy that doesn't have great vision and doesn't run behind his pads, that's been in college for 5 years. It's kind of hard to make that guy suddenly know how to run the football.
yeah. I had some folk kind of pushing the Arian Foster comp on him, pushing kind of and like I mean, I don't think he has the vision of Arian Foster. I don't think he has the moves like Arian Foster had.
That
I
he's
don't
not
think,
Arian Foster.
yeah, he's not Arian Foster.
That's
You
the
feel me?
first thing I think of when I think of Arian Foster. I think of vision. I think of the moves he could put on people. If you ain't got that, then where's the comp?
Right. And Arian Foster wasn't even somebody who was fast, but
Oh
damn,
no, he
it felt
wasn't
like he
fast
was
at all.
gliding. Yeah, and I felt like he hit plenty of long runs throughout his career. So
He
uh,
played behind his blocks, man. Great vision. You don't have to be the fastest guy if you know where to be. I mean, Le'Veon Bell wasn't the fastest guy, but he know how to set up his blocks.
patient. He had patience and he has vision. So I'm gonna let somebody else probably draft Mike
Probably, yeah.
Washington. And I'll let him push people who I actually do like down the board so I can go ahead and select them where I want them.
Yeah, I did not expect myself to have this this 180 so fast, but
he said, I didn't like that shit.
hey, don't just watch the highlights. Pop on the actual tape for down to down, and yeah, I mean, his game needs a lot of work. He is far from a 3-down type of back. His blocking is going to get him parked on the bench, and he's not going to be a guy that can keep the offense on down and distance because he's not a great inside runner. So I think he's going to have a very specific role, and I'm not sure if he's going to get that role right away in the NFL.
Agreed, and that is our 6 players that we are keeping an eye on post Senior.
Hey, and there he goes. That's Huncho.
I swear
Rocco.
to God, bro. I swear to
fucking amateur hour.
I swear to fucking God, this shit keeps
fucking amateur hour.
It does it every time I'm in mid sentence, dog. Pisses me off. But that has been our 6 players that we are keeping an eye on that are shooting up our boards. Now, we got more to come at y'all. We got more, like we said at the beginning of the episode, in store to bring for y'all this off season. It's still early. We haven't even gotten to the main content to where the combine gets rolling around. We're still waiting to see. Teams are still filling out their coaching staffs as we speak. Players are still looking to get re-signed. And I think, honestly, we have a lot in store this offseason and what we could in the NFL world, if you will. But as always, we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins. And I totally had a brain fart because I had something else that I wanted to say. But join our free Discord, which you can find the link in our YouTube description. Join League Champ, where you can always win yourself a free NFL jersey. They just added actual college football data where you can look at prospects, you can look at their 2025 stats, you can look at their career stats. They even have comps in their profiles. And then we'll end up, once the Pro Bowl and Combine comes around, we'll have athletic testing. What app do you know has all this in one, except for PFF? That is League Champ, where you can download on Google Play Store and Apple Store. But Rocco, do you have anything for the viewers before we get up out of here? And shout out to it. We've been a little bit of time after the Senior Bowl. It's our first episode back at it after the event. But man, we are back at it on schedule. We got more. Remember, we have Ice Up, our series with our good friend Ben. We already covered the pass catchers. We're going to be bringing that, doing another episode of that series, looking at injured players from 2025 and their 2026 outlook. We have things planned with our good friends Chev and Addy on something that's potential. And honestly, it gets me so excited because I think it could be a very, very fun time for the fantasy community space if we hit this correctly and get this down correctly. But Rocco, do you have anything for the audience before we step up out of here, player?
Yeah, man. I guess we can announce it. We're officially partnering up with League Champ. So we got some very exciting things in the pipeline for not only our fans, but the whole fantasy football community as a whole. I think it's going to be a game changer. Mm-hmm. Just if you fucks with us, sub to the YouTube channel, jump in the Discord. We're having conversations 24/7, 365. We got people from all over the world in there. So even when we're sleeping, you might have somebody in the UK responding to your questions. But as always, we are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. And shout out to everybody that has followed us on Twitter as of recently. We had quite a big, I would say about 30 to 40 people follow us, man, in this last week or so. Thank you all for tapping in with y'all, with us good fellas. We hope to keep bringing y'all some wonderful content. Honestly, I feel like when and that could just be me, tooting our horn a little bit. But I feel like me and Rocco, we don't just cover just fantasy football. I think we give our very special views. I think we see things from when you play in as many leagues as we do, where we've joined, we've had to leave some, you had successful, you see what strategies do hit, what strategies don't hit, and how we kind of go about our fantasy football process, I think make other people good. So shout out to everyone once again that tunes into our content. Shout out to everyone that has followed us on Twitter. Keep tapping in with us. We're still going strong on TikTok. We're still going strong here. We're still going strong on Twitter. And I actually just found out the other day that Blue Sky has added a live feature.
Oh shit!
To their
Let's
platform.
fucking go.
To their platform. Now
we're gonna go live from there now.
I gotta see how we get that set up, but we might be
fucking go.
We might be adding Blue Sky to the platforms that we stream to. So stay tuned, y'all. We're so excited, bro. Once again, we're still in season 2. Once the new season starts off, we'll be touching on season 3. You could see some new visuals. You could see a new intro. You just never know how it was going to happen with Fourth and Fantasy. But that's how we roll over here. But once again, we hope you have an amazing rest of your day. However you're viewing us, wherever you're viewing us, whatever time it is, we appreciate everybody's support. Till next time, I'm Hancho, and this is my guy.
Siriako, Kamirako.
And this is Fourth and Fantasy. And this is Lee Champ. Till next time.